Hello and welcome to another episode of Where the Rubber Meets the Road or Where the Rubber Hits the Road. Because where the rubber hits the road, there is friction. And where there is friction, there is stress. Where there is stress, there is a possibility of burnout. And we talk about everything nurses, nurse leaders, or anyone who works in healthcare should do or must do to get rid of stress and achieve positive growth and how to achieve that through cross skilling. And we speak with leaders, nurse leaders, healthcare leaders, and today we have an amazing nurse leader with us, Sheila. Sheila's specialization is in gastroenterology, GI, and she has also done MBA in healthcare management. She has more than 20 plus years of experience in this field, and I had pleasure of directly working with her for about 4 years or so. We worked on many things, improving everything in endo unit, and it was such a pleasure to work with Sheila. I have known Sheila as a pragmatic, honest, and hardworking nurse and nurse leader. Her journey personally to me, from a nursing student to clinical director at Stanford Healthcare, is nothing but inspirational. I draw a lot of inspiration from that journey. So today we are going to dive deep into Sheila's thoughts on how a nurse leader should handle um, teams, how nurse leaders should approach cross-skilling nurses, and what should be done to achieve what we call productive well-being. The goal of productive well-being is to achieve satisfaction for staff, employees, customers, patients, and of course, the business that makes everything possible for employees and patients. So, welcome, Sheila, and let's start.
Hi, Amaya. Good afternoon. Well, at least good afternoon where I am right now. I know it's morning in your area, but it is nice to see you. Thank you for your kind introduction. And it is a pleasure for me too to kind of finally connect with you again and talk about things that we've gone through before and what I have learned from those and what I do now using those experiences and clinical life skills and all that in my current profession. So thank
Nice,
you. Thank
nice
you for
word,
having me.
clinical life skills.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So let's start with a very basic question. I have known you as a nurse, nurse leader, but did you always want to be a nurse?
That's always a question, right? To nurses. I've heard it, I've seen it, and just to to have candid response to your questions. No, I don't. I didn't want to be a nurse before. I really wanted to be a flight attendant, and my goal is to travel, and I intended to use my career to do that. But coming in a small town and middle class family where I grew up, I thought it might be hard for me to achieve that goal. So I had an option, and that option was to go into the nursing path. And that was because of my grandmother. My grandmother used to live here. She's gone now, but I really owe it to her because she persuaded me to take nursing instead. Because she saw the opportunity that I might have in the future if I go into the nursing path.
Mhm.
And I think not only I want to travel, but I really want to, meet people and always want to connect with um, people that I can kind of learn. So I took that route of going into the nursing school, and it was not an easy route, especially if that was not your first choice.
Right.
But I did. I finished it, and here I am right now. And the good thing about that is I migrated here in the US, and I was able to achieve my goal of not only traveling and not only meeting people, but also taking care of them in the healthcare industry. It is always, I think, I feel like I'm so fulfilled of doing that, because I not only enjoy meeting people, but also kind of learning from them, and also how can I help them in those days that they are in the hospital, where it's probably the most uncomfortable, or kind of the most scariest part of our
Absolutely.
life is being in the hospital, right? So I think that's kind of where I'm so grateful, not only to my grandmother, but to the opportunity provided to me, to those who I've worked with and I've interacted with.
Such a blessing. I mean, you found a career, right? Uh, what I have heard from many nurses that it was their calling, but in your case, it was not your first choice. But and that's why I said your journey is personally inspirational to me, because you did not want to come into healthcare. You did not want to become a nurse. Your choice of career was completely different, but you came into this field, and through your hard work, consistency, persistence, and perseverance, you climbed the ladder, and you are here serving as a clinical director. So even if it is not your calling, if you understand your path clearly, I think you can achieve it, right?
Absolutely. I think it takes focus, and I think you really need to embrace what you are doing, and you really have to put your mind and heart to it. Even though it was not my first choice, it was almost like, sure, it's a second choice, but it was not really a bad choice, because you get to learn more skills, and as I've mentioned, life skills, because you're dealing with patients' life. So I really truly am grateful for the opportunity given to me.
Absolutely, totally agree. But that leads to another question, that because it was not your first choice, when you actually started working as a nurse, how was your experience? And the topic for today's chat is where the rubber hits the road. That means we expect something when we go to work. Um, and then we have sometimes different reality. So how do we cope up with that difference? So what was your experience working as a nurse, first job, and did you find different reality than your expectations?
Yeah, I guess because it was not my first choice, it was not also my first job. I worked when I graduated in nursing school. I did pass my board certification back home, and I did work as a nurse. I worked in a purchasing department where I deal with computers and obviously purchasing products and all that. Work in an insurance company. So those are my first two jobs, not as a nurse. And did I learn something? I did, which I kind of brought to my third job in the Philippines. I can mention that.
Mhm.
I work as an industrial nurse. But my first two jobs gave me the ability to mingle, I guess, the interpersonal
Yeah,
skills, dealing with different types of people and all that. But I realized I think I should consider practicing my degree. So I went to a big tech company as an industrial nurse, and it was a different experience, because I didn't get to use my clinical training and most of my nursing skills. I did a lot of assessments and preventive task during that time. But I thought I'm not really using the education and the skills that I've learned. So I took the opportunity, as I mentioned, from my grandmother again, to migrate here in the US. And I'm glad I did, because now I started as a med-surg nurse here in the US. And I say that is the best place to start and to hone your skills,
Mm-hmm.
because in med-surg you can truly hone your basic nursing skills, and you can kind of find what is it really that you enjoy the most, what specialty you would like to really focus on. And from med-surg, I had an experience to go into the GI unit, and I found my passion in GI, and that's where I've been for the last, I think, 20 years now, in the GI world. And I continue to learn and hone my GI skills since then.
Wow. So big transitions from an industrial nurse, or even before that, non-clinical jobs, then industrial nurse in one country, then migrated to another country, med surge, then GI, and then go up in the GI world, right?
Yes.
So how amazing um, was it to learn new skills? You mentioned interpersonal skills. Of course, when you are a nurse, it is absolutely critical to have good interpersonal skills, because you are not only taking care of patients physically, but you also have to support them emotionally. And interpersonal skills play giant role in that. And um, how's your experience, given uh, the the vast uh, landscape you have seen in the medical or clinical world?
It's totally different. The interpersonal skills that I've mentioned, I was growing up as a kind of quiet and more on the reserved type of a person, and I'm that person. But along the way, I've learned to communicate with the people that you work with. You capture skills, knowledge, or anything that you have not known from before,
Mhm.
and you take those, adapt those, and kind of pick and choose what would work for your current practice. And I think that's kind of what really I learned from this, from a non-clinical to the clinical, and then also to be a leader. I don't think I thought I'm going to be a leader. I've been a good follower since my school years and all that, and I would say I'm a really a good citizen. And then my leadership skills really started when I was in El Camino, and that was really where the opportunity started. And I want to thank my El Camino family for seeing what they have seen in me. So I've started doing pretty much everything. I started with as a nursing assistant, and then as a nurse, and then as a charge nurse, and then as an assistant manager, and then a patient care manager, and then now as a clinical director. So it really helped me to use all those skills that I picked up along the way, and
Right.
kind of they instilled in me, and really honed me to I hope a good leader, and continuing to hope to becoming a great leader.
Absolutely. And I have seen part of that journey. So I can absolutely say that the way you have grown into leadership position, um, it's absolutely fantastic. And a part of that leadership journey was your MBA. At one point, you decided to go for MBA. As a nurse doing MBA, it's kind of a cross skilling. They are not your um, clinical skills. You did MBA in healthcare administration, healthcare management. So, what motivated you is the first question to go to management side, business administration side, and the second question in that is obviously the skills you learn are different than clinical skills. So, how uh, what benefits of such kind of cross skilling do you see for nurses?
I think just to answer your first question, how what motivated me to go to MBA? Well, at first I was like, why do I need to go to another to take this educational degree again and all that. I'm a nurse, and then I became a certified gastroenterology nurse, and I said I think I'm fine. I'm happy where I am, but I think along the way you kind of find in yourselves that I want to grow more. How can I help my team more, and how can the organization benefit from me? How can I contribute more as a leader and as a clinical provider? So um, really at first I didn't want to go through that route because I know it's going to be really tough having to raise two small kids, two young children, and going into an extensive masteral degree. I said, oh my God, this might be hard. But I think if you have the support, family support, specifically my husband and my parents, and my motivation and my goal to be better, I think that really motivated me to go back to school. So I did that, and actually I'm really grateful I took that journey because I've acquired more skills and knowledge that probably I'm not aware. And that is more becoming more structured,
Mhm,
um, more organized.
mhm,
Um, there's a lot of data analyses that come into it that you learn to incorporate in your daily daily work.
mhm,
Helpful data that can make you decide on what can be done better. So that's a very I think that's one of the skills I really appreciate is looking not just at what you see, it's looking in a bigger picture and how you can kind of dissect those and learn to utilize, find opportunities
mhm,
on how things can be better, workflows, processes, um, how you can serve the patients better, the
mhm,
physicians, your team. um, I think I like to learn as well. I like to continue to learn because I think there's endless opportunity when cross-skilling, I think, offers you options, endless opportunities, because you get to choose the path that you want to go. Um, and when you know that you have acquired those skills, it's almost like you can use it anytime, whether you're in a meeting, whether you're with patients, whether with your team. um I like those opportunities. I'm also a person that likes change. I don't settle for what I see, for what I have. I like to improve. And I've done quite several of those A3s, performance improvements in my current career, and I've seen outcome towards it. And I think what I've learned too is you don't do things because you just want to achieve a goal. You kind of learn why you want to do it
Mhm.
and then how you will do it. So
Right.
these are the things that I've learned when I went back to school. And I'm continuing to utilize those tools on my daily um, work.
Two very interesting and important words or phrases you used or concepts that um, you always wanted to see that how your learning is going to contribute to your organization's success, right? That
Yes.
mindset is absolutely critical if you are working in a field like healthcare, because it is such a dynamic field, such a changing field, that if you don't know how your work is contributing towards organization's goals or organization's mission, then it's really difficult for you to be motivated, I guess, or be in the job or to grow in your job, in your field. So absolutely critical, and that's what we um, found out. So our journey started with the with performance improvement and process improvement, performance improvement area. You mentioned um, improving things, improving processes, improving outcomes. Uh, what are you going to improve is absolutely critical. That's the second concept you mentioned. But why do you want to improve is probably more critical than that. So if you understand these two things as an individual contributor or as a leader, that uh, your growth should contribute to organization's growth or organization's mission, and you must continuously improve. If you don't continuously improve, at some point, it becomes an existential question for you. Uh, that's what we found out. And um, cross skilling, as you mentioned, is a powerful way to achieve both growth. Uh, it gives you, like you mentioned, it gives you an option, it gives you a choice. In which area do you want to go forward, move ahead? Because now you have more tools, more thoughts in your under your belt, so that you can um, use them in different scenarios, and you get to choose which way you want to go, right? That's pretty powerful. Instead of continuing your journey in clinical field only.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nursing has so many fields. Whether you want to be a bedside nurse, whether you want to be in the technology wise, I mean, right now, there are just so many options that you can explore.
Mhm.
There's so many things that you can learn. I think it is important to find what your goal is, how do you get to your goal, and I think most important is if you're enjoying it, you gotta enjoy it. And I think if you have that passion to do things, I mean, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be hard. There would be bumps and barriers and challenges along the way. But I think finding those skills help you overcome those barriers.
That's exactly what I was going to say, that the skills you learn, they help you remove those barriers and move forward. So one obvious question, because not traditional view of process improvement or improvement in general. You focus mostly on your area, and you define some metrics, and you try to improve them. But what I have seen is any improvement is not complete and not sustainable if it does not generate satisfaction. Satisfaction for three stakeholders. The first stakeholder is business. Business has to see some kind of positive returns from that improvement. Second one is, of course, your patients. Uh, their satisfaction must uh, increase, improve. The clinical outcomes must improve. And the third, and often overlooked in my 15 plus years of improvement journey, I have not seen focus on this part, employee satisfaction through improvement. So ultimately, it's all related to well-being at work, in our work lives. So my question is, cross-skilling or using cross skills to improve, uh, does that improve your chances of improved work-life well-being?
I think I do believe it does. I think cross-skilling again provides you the ability to acquire those skills and and personally use them, whether you are at work or you're not at work.
Mhm,
Um, it helps you navigate the stressors that would probably would come along the way, because you're able to handle those stress. It's not going to be, again, it's something that everybody has. I personally has a challenge when there is a problem that comes my way,
mhm,
right? I mean, human nature, I think, and I'm not an expert to this, but from my personal experience, sometimes our initial reaction is you give up, right? When you become frustrated for things that not going your way.
mhm.
You've tried so many things, but still you're not getting to the end goal.
Right.
But because of those skills that you have acquired, you tend to you tend to use those by by pausing
Mhm,
and kind of reassess. Maybe you're missing something, or maybe you haven't really tried something else, and that's why you're not getting into your end goal. um I mean, it does help because it helps you navigate the emotions and the challenges around it. Emotional intelligence, I think, is also one thing that I have hopefully acquired along the way, and that is so important part of your your career, work life balance, when to stop, when to pause, when to resume, and again, I think you have mentioned it, sustainability.
mhm.
um, how do you sustain it? And that's always to my question. Sure, we identify the problem, right? And then we found solutions to it, but now how do you sustain it, so now you don't go back to that stage where now you're frustrated again because you came back to step one, or
Right.
to the initial problem that you're trying to solve. So it does, I think it does help me a lot personally. And I try to help my team to kind of adapt to it as well. Don't get stuck with one. Try to find ways how to get to your end goal. And how do you do that? By just, you know, s- sitting down and really learning and researching what else can you do. That's still a skill that sometimes often overlooked, of just find some answers to your questions, and it will help you.
It is absolutely a skill. I mean, um, even through my PI experience, I have not seen this skill actually being taught. Like, uh, there is a structured way to reflect on something and why you are not getting something, or why you are getting to the dead end every time, why things are not sustaining. And if you can build that habit of reflection, structured reflection, uh, it does wonders. That's what I have seen now. So you mentioned that you help your team navigating or teaching them how to navigate these challenges, right? So when there are moments when you don't have support you are looking from your organization, maybe, or from your other stakeholders, patients, physicians, in general. How do you how a nurse should empower uh, team members sorry, to navigate situations like this?
I think, um, yeah, I mean, that's not new. There there will always be that instance where you won't get the support that you actually are expecting to get, right? I think what I usually do for that instance, and it works for me, I think most of the time, is providing rational, providing, again, the whys to your team. Most of the time, when you present a problem or a change to the team, it will always, the first question would be why, right? It's working well. Why do you have to change it? I'm a believer too. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But you could always still make an improvement.
Yeah.
So what I do with that is I sit down with them and explain why. Why do you have to do this? What would be the what can you achieve if you do this? Who would be affected if we do this? And most of the time it works because they understand why are you doing it. I think transparency and I think trust, you have to gain their trust. And how do you gain their trust is, again, being transparent to them, the ability to speak to what you're trying to achieve. And that's kind of same thing for them. If they are in doubt or they don't like what they see, I want them to say it, to speak up, be empowered to speak to those uncertainties or concerns. So in that way, you and I can collaborate on how we can overcome that concern, that pain points that keeps coming back to you. That's why you can't move past that. So that's always been how I do it when I work with my team. Um, I think they appreciate that you involving them in the decision making as well. Um, Collaborating and brainstorming with them what they think would work and why they think they won't work, and also bring them in to be part of the solution, not just you solving the problems for them.
Right.
Always a believer to of two heads are better than one. So
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. One thing that came to my mind when you were talking about this, that you grew through your career. Um, so at the position where you are at, you get to see the system as a whole, not just one process, two processes, but the system as a whole. Having that system view, how important is it for an individual to do their work more efficiently, and more satisfactorily?
That's a very good question, Mayan. And I think what I enjoy the most now is exactly what you have mentioned, is you see the system. You see how you can influence the system by incorporating your skills and your experience. Um, and that has been my goal as a leader, is what is my purpose? How can I use my position as a clinical director to influence my team, to help them to grow and how to maximize their full potential? Every single member of our team has a value that can they provide on the table.
Yeah.
And I always welcome those values that they provide. I always would like to mold someone who has the interest and the passion to be part of the team. And that has been my goal and my process as a leader. And I think, and that's why I enjoy it, because I get to see 1 to 10 instead of seeing just number 5. I see the entire process from the beginning to end, and
Right.
I'm able to help modify if a step or steps in order to get to number 10. And with I think with my leadership too, and my operational leaders, senior leadership, operational leaders, and me kind of being the middle, I'm able to put the vision of the organization and my senior leadership into action by having the support of my frontline leaders. So it is a circle. Honestly, it's a circle of it's a circle of life. I would say without one, I don't think you can. The circle is broken. So
Right.
um,
So you kind of summarized it, like the role a leader like you plays is absolutely critical in the success for frontline staff and organization. So big responsibility on your shoulders. Um, Now, because we are talking about empowering nurses and cross-skilling, um, what would you like to advise new nurse uh, graduating from nursing school and coming into clinical environment? Which skills should they start with? Non-clinical skills, if they are cross-skilling. Uh, because first 2 years, the data shows first 2 years are the most critical years for any nurse coming in. Um, that kind of decides the path for many. Many get burnt out during the first 2 years. So taking care of their well-being is absolutely critical during this time frame. And if they can find clarity about the future path, as well as if the well-being is taken care of, we think that it can be done through cross-skilling. And so what couple of skills that come into your mind that they should start focusing on early on?
I think I would start really with using what you have, utilizing what skills you currently have. And by doing that, you get to be good at it. And then once you have those basic skills, now you kind of reflect on, okay, what else can I do But before you even think about what else can I do, what is it that you're passionate about?
Right.
Um, and I think that's so important. Sometimes new nurses tend to jump in right away. I want to do this right away. But how can you get there if you haven't really, um, if you're not really proficient on the basic skills? I
Mhm.
think proficiency on your current skills is important. And then once you are proficient in that, then now you get to choose, you get to explore. I think exploring what what's out there in the nursing field, specifically in the nursing field, what's out there? What is it? What is it that you're looking for? Because if you just, yeah, I mean, every nurse can try different fields, right? Sure, I'll try GI, I'll try OR, I'll try ortho, I'll try different things. And then I'll just see what I like. And that's okay too. But I think two things will be honing on your basic skills first. What is it that you currently have, and be proficient to it? So I think that's kind of so important, is assessing your assessing your own self. And then once you have done that, um, you get to focus on where do I where do I go next? Again, I think I have mentioned, do I want to be a leader? Do I want to be do I enjoy most of patient care? Do I enjoy technology, innovation and technology? Those type of things. I think reflection is also important, and I think having a goal, setting a goal for yourself, and you'll find that area where you want to be, and you're gonna be happy with that. And again, if that fails, again, I say it's not the end of the world. That's why cross skilling is so important, because again, you can go back. Okay, this didn't work. Let me try this. Uh, Along the way, you'll find that. But I'm an advocate of honing what your current skills are first before jumping into multiple things. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just enjoy every step of the way until you find that area that you wanna focus on. Put your heart and your mind to it, and be I think be the agent for change too. I mean,
Mhm.
I think for me, I'd like to be an agent for change.
That's a master advice. Do not overwhelm yourself. That comes from someone who has gone through it, experienced it, right? Uh, that is so critical because I have seen a lot of times, yeah, nurses or anyone working, especially in healthcare, overwhelm themselves. So, and then the confusion increases, frustration increases, and it impacts overall well-being, uh, and it demotivates you at one point, like what's going on, why am I doing all this? So focus is absolutely important, like you mentioned, and reflection is critical, for anyone who is working in healthcare, nurse or anyone else. That brings me to my final question. um, we talked about, you mentioned that they should hone their skills in first couple of years, and then cross skills so that they have more options. They have power of more options to choose from. Um, in doing all this, what we have seen, their understanding of system they are working in improves. They see a problem from different angle. If a turnaround time, for example, let's take that as a problem, high turnaround time for cases is a problem from patient side. Um, patients have to wait. The procedures don't start on time. But it's also a problem from organization side because that keeps the resources engaged. And it is also a problem from staff side because then they are always um, catching up. So how this improved understanding, you mentioned about that they are better prepared to solve a problem if they see all the angles. But this also, in my mind, this leads to sustainability because once you see all the angles, all the potential sides of a problem, then you are better able to design solutions accordingly. And you don't repeat your mistakes. There are less chances of doing that. So, how important is that system overview? Uh, Getting that system understanding critical to your job satisfaction?
I think it is important because you get to. I think it's rewarding. I think I would say it's rewarding because when you see a problem and you are able to solve it and sustain it, and not only helping the system, it is also helping the patients and the team members. It is rewarding seeing the entire system work, um, understanding the problem and understanding how you navigate those problems and how you can be part of that solution. So I think one word is it is fulfilling to be able to see and be part of that process. You mentioned how also I see that as a job satisfaction. Is that kind of what you ask?
Yeah.
Um, I think
I mean,
it is,
seeing your team going through the process
yeah,
must be personally, you mentioned rewarding, fulfilling. So that must be also satisfying. Ultimately, that as a leader, you are able to help your team members.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it is always helpful whether you, I think this is what I would say, whether you have achieved the goal or not, it is not always achieving the goals, right? It is not always you feel fulfilled when you achieve the goal. I think that's kind of the least important. What's fulfilling is you were able to work with your team and you were able to work on something, whether you have achieved it or not, but at least you have tried to solve a problem. If you have achieved it, it's almost like a bonus, right? And the purpose, your mission, you accomplish your mission. But I think what's important for me too is able to help your team to understand the process along the way. And I think that's far important than just achieving the goal because you get to learn it. And next time that you do it again, then you can take those and whether you do it again or not. But I think that's the most fulfilling or the most satisfying part of that work.
So nicely articulated. I mean, um, many times we keep focusing on the goal, achieving the goal, and we don't pay attention to what we learn through the process. But the secret, I would say, is the process and the learnings stay with you. The goal might change. It might change next year. Who knows? But the process, the learning of going through the entire exercise, that always stays with you, and you can take it with you. And to me, that is of more rewarding, more fulfilling than accomplishing or meeting those metrics. Uh, and you use the word bonus. Achieving goals is a bonus to this process. That is um, That is a critical point of view, I would say. Everyone must understand. And if they do, it will be achieving well-being at in work life. It will not be hard, right?
And I think I've seen that my team enjoy every single member of our team enjoys coming to work because they know they can be part of something big. Um, and they get to provide that patient care. And they are supported by their leaders. So I think that's important.
Such an amazing clarity. And um, you mentioned about the process you follow to learn from things. Teach me one day.
I'm learning a lot from you as well. I think sometimes we overlook those little things that we pick up. Um, but at the end, those are the things, those small things, those little things help us become a better person, become a better leader, um, and better clinical provider
Mhm.
for myself.
Absolutely wonderful talking with you, Sheila. Uh, Thank you for your time. And I was not joking when I said that you teach me one day your process. I honestly want to learn. Uh, we'll connect sometime for that. But thank you for sharing your thoughts, sharing your insights, and sharing your learnings with us today. Um, Such an amazing experience. Always lovely talking with you. Thank you very much.
Likewise, Amaya. It's an opportunity and privilege for me to be part of this program that you have and to share my experience and share it to your audience. And I hope I get to share and for the others to learn from my experiences. It's not an easy um, there's no easy way. Everything you have to work hard for it. And then again, I'll say it again, just put your heart and mind to it.
And like you mentioned, that people will learn from your experience, of course, but that's the goal of Satisfaction Farm. This is the platform where we want leaders to share their stories, their learnings, so that everyone can learn. Because not everyone gets a leader um, who can share all these things. So that's the service we provide, that we find the successful leaders, and we make this platform available so that they can share what is worth sharing. Those are trade secrets. Those could be things that you will not learn in your MBA schools or nursing schools, and the things that you should learn when you are graduating from nursing school, so that your life in healthcare world would be much, much more easier. So I'm pretty sure your insights are going to be useful and will bug you for more insights.
You're welcome, Maya. Again, nice seeing you again. And I'm fortunate to have known you and always appreciative of the opportunity.
Same feelings here. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Take care.